As a realtor in Costa Rica, I get asked all the time if it's possible to make a decent return on investment with rental properties. And the answer is yes, and I'm going to give you some tips on how that is possible. So first of all, if you hire a property manager to take care of your unit and to rent it out for you, they're going to take a big chunk of your rental income. Typically, they're going to take 25 to 35% of your rent. So if you really want to maximize your profits, you're going to have to do it yourself, meaning that you're going to have to list your property on Airbnb and VRBO and other rental websites. And then you can either hire a manager down here just to check in your guests and to take care of your property, or you can have your guests self-check in. You can get a code on your door or do a lockbox. Those are your options. Okay, so as an example, this is a condo that I personally own. And I rent it out on Airbnb and VRBO. I get about a 70% plus occupancy. I am 2 blocks off the beach here, and I have an average nightly rate of about $100. So we're very seasonal. So from Christmas to Easter, I can charge a little more, about $110 a night. And then during our green season, the rest of the year, I can charge about $90 a night. So over the year, I am grossing about $20,000 to $22,000. And then I have about $4,000 to $5,000 in expenses. So my net ends up being between about $15,000 to $18,000 a year. And I have about $100,000 into this investment. So quick math, that's a 15 to 18% return. Now here's the thing, that is not passive income because I am the one who's managing the condo. I am the one who's booking the rentals. And it's not a big job, but it does take about an hour a week of my time. So if you hire a full-time property manager, which throughout Costa Rica, in our town here in Jaco Beach, there's a dozen or so managers. And they will do a great job of maintaining your property for you and renting it out. The problem is that once they take their 25 to 35% of the rental income, you're really not going to have much of a return. You are going to pay all your expenses quite easily and put a little bit of money in your pocket, but to really maximize your ROI, you need to do it yourself. Okay, so let me give you a few tips on what I do personally to really maximize my rentals. And one of the things is you have to have great reviews. And to get good reviews, you need to do some personal touches. Like, for example, in my property, I do a map here. And on the map, I have my favorite restaurants and things to do. Same thing with this folder here. I have my recommended activities, and I also send this to them in an email. When the renters first book with me, I send them an email with a 10-page PDF, and it has all this information there. And that alone can garner a 5-star review. If they read it and they say, oh, Shawn told me to go eat here and go watch the sunset here and do this ATV tour, and I had the best vacation ever. And that alone helps to get good reviews. Another thing that I do is that I am a big coffee snob. And so I give fresh beans from my favorite plantation in Costa Rica, and then I have a little coffee grinder where they can grind up fresh coffee every morning. And so that's a big bonus for renters. Little things like I have smart TVs, and so renters can come and use their Netflix account. And so what I tell clients is to make it special, make their house or condo home, and that'll help to generate good reviews. So another thing that is hugely important for rentals is having comfortable beds, really soft pillows, and great towels. Those are small things, but they really make a big difference in garnering good reviews from renters. So another thing that is good for renters is to have little soaps and shampoos. And I hate it when you go to a property and there's like one roll of toilet paper. And so I overstock the condo or my house just to make sure that the renters aren't continually asking me for supplies. In this post-COVID era, a workstation is hugely important. A place where people can come and set up their laptop and be comfortable. And more I see that people are traveling, but they need to work and do business at the same time. So that's something that you need to highlight and offer, that you not only have a workstation, but have quality high-speed wireless internet and maybe even a backup internet connection. Okay, so when I rent, I have found that Airbnb and VRBO have been the platforms that have been most successful to me. That's not true across the board because I have clients who've been extremely successful with websites like booking.com, TripAdvisor, even Facebook advertising can be really successful. But I found that Airbnb and VRBO they have great platforms, they have great apps that you can put on your phone. And so for me, my rental breakdown is about 65% comes from Airbnb, 30% comes from VRBO, and the rest is repeats and word of mouth. Okay, so I mentioned that reviews are hugely important when generating business on these platforms. So the question is, when you're first getting started, what do you do since you don't have any reviews at that point? And so what you're gonna have to do is offer a really low price in order to get people to book when you're brand new. And I've been bold enough with my titles to say something like, brand new listing, offering 50% discount, searching for 5-star reviews. And that is a title that grabs attention, and people will book it based on the price reduction. Now, websites like Airbnb, they won't even show that you have reviews until you've had 3 paying guests stay in the place and actually leave reviews. So you need to offer that introductory rate for as long as it takes to get those 3 guests who leave great reviews, and then you can raise your prices to where they should be. Okay, so we talked about how reviews are integral to your business. There's 2 other components, and the second one is photos. You have to have great photos on your listings. I can't stand it when I look on VRBO and I see listing photos that are taken with an iPhone in the dark, and no one's gonna click on your listing. These days, everyone is booking based on photos, reviews, and the last one is obviously price. And so price is something that you can adjust based on the demand. And Airbnb has something called price tips, where if you're not getting enough rentals, you can click on this price tips button and it will adjust your rates up or down based on the demand of even that day or week. Okay, here's something else that I learned through my experience in property management. When I rent to 3 or more people, I find that it turns into a party, or I have a family with kids. And I saw that I'd have a lot more wear and tear. So if I had 3 or more young folks, I'd have beer cans laying around the kitchen. If I had a family, I would have kids riding on the walls. I have a 7 and 10-year-old, so I know that when I travel, my kids, they're not kind to hotel rooms. And so what I decided to do is not to rent to families, and actually I do a 2-person maximum. So when I bought this place, it was actually a small 2-bedroom condo. I knocked out the wall and pushed out the kitchen and made it into a 1-bedroom condo, with the idea that I'm only going to rent to 2 people maximum to really minimize my wear and tear. And what I found is that my guests who I rent to are typically couples or a single person. They're almost never in the condo. They are out doing tours, surf lessons, ATV rides, they're eating out, and they're barely even cooking here. So my wear and tear is minimal. Could I be making more with a 2-bedroom? Probably. I have clients who own properties in the same community, and they have a slightly higher occupancy rate and they're charging slightly more per night, but they have a lot more wear and tear than I do. So that's my strategy. I don't like to deal with the wear and tear. It's a lot easier management when I rent to only 2 people. Having a successful Airbnb condo really boils down to 3 things. The first one is getting good reviews, and I mentioned that good reviews can be garnered by having a personal experience, leaving things like coffee in the condo. I have this map here that points out the best things to do in our town, those types of things. Number 2 is having great photos. Spend the money on a professional photographer because you will make that money back tenfold. And number 3 is having the right price. If you're overpriced, then no one's going to book your condo. So it's a function of those 3 things. Play around with them and you're bound to have a successful Airbnb condo. My name is Shawn Fletcher. I'm a realtor with Remax Oceanside here in Jaco Beach, Costa Rica, and I am your oceanfront and condominium specialist.